York City FC Pregame Live. Tonight, New York City take on Puebla in the first match of Leagues Cup action. And now, here are your hosts, Glenn Crooks and Matty Lawrence.
And we are in New Jersey, the great state of New Jersey, Harrison. It's the former Red Bull Arena, now called Sports Illustrated Stadium, that will play host to the Leagues Cup opener, New York City FC against Puebla. 18 teams from MLS, 18 teams, all of them from League MX, going at it in these group stage games. There'll be 3 of them, and then it's on to the knockout stage, and we'll set up some of the situations along the way and describe to you specifically what this Leagues Cup is all about and the history for New York City. And when I say we, I mean me and him. There's Matty Lawrence. Hey, Matty.
It's a world record today, Glenn. You mentioned New Jersey after 1.4 seconds of the broadcast, so it always takes you a while normally, but you've got it in early here. And I'm very intrigued this Sports Illustrated Stadium, while still bathed in Red Bull logos everywhere and still on the roof as well.
Well, they are still the New York Red Bulls,
they
right?
Certainly are.
They're the Red Bulls, and but they are not playing here in their home arena. Well, I don't know what their schedule is. I haven't looked that closely, but I know tonight they're sharing it with their rivals, New York City FC, which has happened before. Well, this is a game that is not in the 5 boroughs where New York City would prefer to play, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that we are about an hour from kickoff. Now, the gates are open, and I don't think anyone is in the stadium yet. I don't see a single patron, but the normal tendency of New York City supporters is to not to make the trek across the Hudson for a game like this. And the word is that Puebla is going to bring about 10,000 people.
So I walked through the car park. I got off the Harrison Path probably 2 hours ago, and it was ram-packed, jam-packed with Puebla fans. They were all there, tailgating, drinking.
But see, they're not
music.
coming. Yeah, they're not going to come in until they're done
10
with
minutes before kickoff. There are a few fans now, Glenn. There's 5 or 6, but yes, it will be. You'd have thought sparsely attended by NYCFC fans.
Well, it's just to look at the Leagues Cup, and then we're also going to review this game at FC Dallas and go over some of the highlights there, because it was a pretty interesting affair. It was a win, 2 wins on this 4-game road swing. So really some incredible stuff for New York City, and it keeps them in pretty decent shape in the Eastern Conference.
It does. It's like a crowning jubilee of the end of that 4-game stretch away from home. And I think you said in our group text you thought they needed to win that last game against FC Dallas to get into the playoffs. I tend to agree with you. It was a good result, but that's it, wasn't it? It wasn't a good performance, but that's all that matters. It's gaining points now, and 7 points from those 4 games is quite phenomenal, especially considering they lost the first one.
And how Pascal Janssen chooses to utilize Leagues Cup with what is an expanded roster, including guys like Sebastiano Musu, who we saw make his debut during this road trip and shine a bit, along with his New York City FC2 teammate Seymour Reed. We'll get to the starting lineups pretty shortly, as they are officially announced soon. But this Leagues Cup, so it used to be 47 teams. Well, from a season ago, it was 29 MLS and 18. So everybody from MLS was in, and everybody from League MX was in. And then they were playing in these groups of 3, and it was a bit awkward because a lot of times MLS teams were playing MLS teams, which is not interesting at all in this sort of competition.
Absolutely. It wasn't. It certainly didn't. It wasn't a spectacle. I'm really looking forward to these 3 games. It also gives the manager a chance to play players who haven't had many minutes, or the new signing, or anybody who's on the periphery of the squad. So I think it's perfect for that. And I think the way the games have fallen, Puebla are the worst of the Mexican teams. Then it's Leon, the next best, and then the last game's against Toluca, who obviously the champions and sit top of the league, I think, right now as well. So it falls nicely in that sense as well.
So the way it falls out, Matty, it's 2 leagues of 18. So League MX will have their 18-team league. MLS will have their 18-team league. They'll play the 3 group games all against the opposite side.
Yep.
So all of New York City's opponents in the group stage, 3 matches, are against the Mexican teams, which is excellent. And we've noticed in the past that the games are feisty, and they're fun to call for us. They're fun to watch, and we've seen some of them. Atlas, which didn't go well, but then Tigres last year, which was one of the best moments for New York City in a while.
It's just something a little bit extra in terms of spice, isn't it? We know the rivalry between the 2 countries, and it's good to see new teams as well. These are teams we're not used to watching, or certainly I'm not used to watching, so I'm very much looking forward to it. And yes, it certainly beats New York City FC playing against Minnesota or playing against Toronto or Montreal, because we get enough of that, in my opinion, during the league. So yes, it's going to be quite tasty, I think, today, Glenn. I'm sure there'll be tackles flying in. And add to that as well, you've got a number of players who will be hoping to shine, hoping to, cement a place in the starting 11 next time,
Well, there are some specific things that Pascal Janssen has to sort out. And one is how he utilizes all the attacking players that he has now with the addition of Nico Fernandez Mercado, and then also at the back. But again, sticking with Leagues Cup for the moment, the 2 sides, the top 4 from each, Matty, get out into the knockout stage. So it's this group stage, 3 games, and then only 4 teams from either side. And as Roberto Abramowitz said quite astutely, I hadn't even thought about it on our weekly pod, NYCFC Views Live, that you could go 3-0 and get not go to the knockout round because of tiebreakers.
Technically you can. I don't think that will happen, but yes, it's certainly a possibility. I like that as well, though. Only the top 4 go through. 14 teams from each league don't go through. Yeah. So I think it's
almost like the way it should be in the regular year. That'll never happen, but
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, I totally. But it should be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing some players we don't see a lot of. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing the new DP as well. And then you've got an incredibly strong bench too, Glenn. It should be a fun one. Hopefully, there'll be a good atmosphere as well inside the stadium, although I'm not too sure about that right now.
So New York City in this group stage, they'll be in the area for all 3 games. Now, I'm going to tell you about hosting privileges for the Liga MX teams because for instance, Monterrey is playing the Red Bulls, and they're going to be playing in Houston. And that's going to be a home game for Monterrey.
Yep.
They're not going to play it at home. They're not going to play it south of the border, but that's what they're calling home. So those are the hosting privileges. And for the tournament, Club America, Cruz Azul, Toluca, it will be called the home game when they play Yankee Stadium against New York City on August the 5th. Tigres, Monterrey, and Pumas. So there are a lot of familiar faces here. Monterrey, it's Dome Torron, former New York City manager. For Pumas, it's Efrain Juarez, a former assistant to Ronnie Dyla and an MLS Cup champion. Who else do we have? Who's at Atlas? Gonzalo Pineda, the former Atlanta United coach and Seattle Sounders assistant. But so New York City, they'll be in the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area for all group games, even though they'll be the road team at Yankee Stadium on August the 5th. Meanwhile, Puebla, their opponent tonight, they're going to be at Columbus and then at Montreal. They're going to go to Stade Saputo and Lower.com. I don't know if they're the home team at either one of those locales, the hosting privileged team, but they're not among the privileged. And I'll tell you, the reason they're not among the privileged, Matty, and that's what's interesting about tonight. Now, you can go on FOTMob, and that's the only thing I've seen from Puebla is that they've got a nice set of 15-minute highlight packages from their first 3 games this year. And they tore apart Santos Laguna, even though it was just 1-0. I mean, they had chance after chance after chance. You were talking about the possession statistics, how they were dominant in that area. But it actually was dominant possession that created chances. They just couldn't score. Well, they got one.
And an awful lot of the shots are off target as well. They are creating chances, but they're either choosing the wrong option or just very, very slack in front of goal. The fact that they 67% possession when they lost at home to Atlas and then 59% possession in their next 2 games. They keep the ball, but don't really know what to do with it.
Yeah.
To a point, they're having a lot of shots in games. 17 shots against Atlas, but only 4 on target. 19 shots against Santos Laguna, only 4 on target. So they're choosing the wrong option. At times they are creating chances, but yes, in front of goal, they're not great at the moment.
So prior to that win just the other day, they had gone 11 games without a victory, 10 losses and a draw. That tie was against Tigres last April. Their last away win was against Santos Laguna, and that was February 2nd. They've been 7 matches without a win since then. So they've made a lot of changes, Matty, and we're going to get an idea as the game progresses to see how it's all going to play out for them. They have a lot of young players, players on loan, so they're trying to make some changes. They have a new manager, Pablo Gueda, who was hired in December of 2024, a guy who spent some time in Argentina as a manager. Yeah. So they're trying to push things along. And I want you to comment on a couple of things, but because of where they finished last year, which is 2 losses, or in the Clausura, they won 2 times.
Yep.
At 12 goals of 17 games. But they were fined 47 million pesos, which works out to $2.5 million US dollars. And it used to be pro rel, and then in 2020 they dropped pro rel, and they added the fine if you fall like into the 17 or 18 hole, which is interesting because it's further pushing you back. Even though you stay in the top league, you're losing. You're having to pay this money that you might have been able to pay for a transfer. It doesn't quite calculate.
Some of your budget has now disappeared. Yeah. Whereas you look at other American sports, if you finish bottom, you get the top draft pick. You finish bottom in Mexico, and you rightfully get punished, but
because they're mimicking U.S. sports in a way by doing that, by eliminating that.
We've said this too often. Puebla are a bad team. They only won 2 games, as you say, in the Clausura, lost 12 out of 17, only won 4 in their Apertura and lost 11. They lose an awful lot of games, and all of those games...
And they're 1-2 now in the new league.
The only good thing about this season, the 3 games, is they haven't lost by more than 1 goal, but they've still lost 2 out of the 3. Pablo Guede, he's come in, he's brought in a few Argentines. A worry for me is that they have, certainly in the last starting lineup, 5 of their outfield players, so 50% of their outfield players, Glenn, were on loan. I don't think you're playing quite to the same intensity when you're on loan. It doesn't quite mean the same. And it's certainly difficult to gel a team, that's for certain, when you have that many players on loan.
I'm going to start scrolling in our lower third, if you're watching this, the starting 11 for New York City, plus the substitutes, and we're going to get to that in just a moment as New York City is playing in the Leagues Cup tonight at Sports Illustrated Stadium. Let's get a look. It looks like a gorgeous day. If you look at us and it looks like we're hot and sweaty, it's because we are.
Certainly am.
We are on the roof. This is actually our view. We're on the roof of the what was formerly known as Red Bull Arena and now is Sports Illustrated Stadium. That's where we've always done the games. It's a great spot for us to look down on the field and for Matty to look at the tactical side of things and provide analysis. And it's always been a great venue. Before New York City was a franchise, I was a season ticket holder here, and there's not a bad seat in the house.
There isn't. I was about to say this is one of the best grounds in terms of vantage point for us, purely selfishly here. Us as broadcasters, it's absolutely phenomenal. But you're also right as well, Glenn. There is not a bad seat in the house here, that's for certain. I love coming here. I know NYCFC fans might not like me saying that, but it is. It's a wonderful
place. Well, I love
place.
coming here because it's 25 minutes up the road or down the road.
It's only 12 minutes on the path.
So I kid as well. I mean, it takes me an hour and a half to get to City Field and 25 minutes or 30 minutes to get here.
The pitch is normally wonderful. But no, it's not today. Sure. The stands at the stadium's great, but yes. So
look at the field. So this is you have to, and as you said, Matty, it's the business side of things. But in addition to soccer here, they have concerts. And I don't have the camera positioned. If you panned it to the right, you would see in the penalty area, you could see the outline of a stage for a concert. And I told you this earlier, Matty, that today there was an email from the Red Bulls about what an exciting lineup this summer. And I know they're hosting some good games.
Starting 11.
And it had nothing to do with soccer. It was a concert coming up. Ironically, that concert will be held a week prior to Decision Day for New York City, which could very well be played here if both the Yankees and the Mets are in the playoffs. So I just, you have to do it, I suppose, but it's injurious to the.
As you say, you can't see it from our camera angle, but the penalty area is pretty much completely brown or covered in sand, isn't it? It's pretty dreadful for goalkeepers, and it doesn't look great either. But yes, we understand the capitalist aspect, and we understand you having to make.
But
money
you can see
as
that
well.
line if you're watching. You see, there's a line right down the middle. That's. We figure that was somehow leading to the left. You could see in front of that goal area, maybe the audio mixer stand for the soundstage for the concert. All right, well, enough of that. All right, let's dig in here. So starting for New York City, Matt Freezing goal. So no change there, but Nico Cavallo, Justin Hack, Tanasiewicz, Strahinja, Micha Ilinic back in, Johnny Shore, Aiden O'Neill, Julian Fernandez, and Augustino Ojeda, and Seymour Reed up top. So one person I left out, he's going to get his first start for New York City, and he's in for Maxi Morales, and that's Nico Fernandez Mercado.
He needs to get minutes, that's for certain. He needs to get match fit. What was it, 20, 30 minutes he played in the last game against FC Dallas?
Officially 29, but
He looked very, very good, but it was a very small sample size. Will he play the whole 90? You wouldn't have thought so, Glenn. You'd have thought 45 to 60, possibly 70, depending on how the game goes. But he looks lively. And for me, when we hear Pascal talking, and we will later on, when he talks about Fernandez Macau playing in that 10 role, I thought he would be taking Maxi Morales' place. But it seems as though Pascal has this inkling of them playing as almost a twin 10, and I do love that.
Yeah, you made that mention to me on a text, and I got right back to you. I thought it was one of the more intriguing parts
it really
of
is.
the interview, which is coming up at 7:45. That's our live commentary pregame show. This is a photo of the new DP. This is his publicity shots as he was standing. What facility is it? Is this Rockefeller Center?
I think that's the top of the rock,
Top of the rock. Okay, so looking good there and looking good on the field of play. So why don't we see what the gaffer, the profe, Pascal Janssen, thought of Nico Fernandez, who, and you'll see it right here from our live commentary and be able to hear it, that he assisted on the game winner to Alonso Martinez. So here's the gaffer. Well, tell us what you thought. We see him out on the wing doing most of his work, and then what he did to get the assist on the game-winning goal was pretty special.
Yeah, it was very special, but it's an area where we think that Nico can help our team. This is a situation where we have him on the pitch together with Maxi Morales. So you have two creative minds in the areas in and around Alonso. So they both can supply and they feel out each other quite well. And that's what we see in training as well, because as you know, Glenn, when good players connect with each other, they can find each other with their eyes closed. And this was one of those moments where you see Nico gets on the ball. It's a good pass into Nico also, but his ideas are already forward. So that is something that an attacker like Alonso can only dream about, because these guys will always be looking for you. And that was the case with this goal.
Pascal during the year has often talked about looking forward first and getting the ball behind in early. And it was really what a wonderful technical maneuver there. That was a quick two-touch pass in behind. Yeah, a touch and a pass.
As a player, you're always told first look forward, but there's very few players can have that first look and then play the pass as well. Quite often they will be a little doubtful and then go sideways or backwards. I love the relationship that we know will be inevitable between Morales and Fernandez Macau. Two obviously from the same part of the world. similar types of players, but not quite the same, if that's not a contradiction. But they will develop a relationship. They're very good players. And as the gaffer said, I'm sure he's already seen it on the training ground. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Granted, it won't be today, but in the future and probably MLS games, we will see that.
Yeah. Native of Buenos Aires, 25 years old, is Fernandez Murcao, and gets an assist in his first minute. When he talks about the developing a chemistry, they did it in less than a half hour, which was pretty interesting. And that was another comment that I thought, great players, they just feel it and they see each other anyway,
and they gravitate towards each other as well. I think Fernandez Macau, his first look will be either to Alonso Martinez, or second is into Maxi, and Maxi likewise. They will be able to trust each other. They will be able to give each other the ball in tight spaces, and it should be a burgeoning relationship. But yes, again, still very early on. We don't want to get too high on Fernandez Macau. We haven't seen a great deal of him.
Yeah, but we're going to see him tonight at the start in the number 10 role. So it's going to be very interesting. And the guy in front of him that he'll be looking to combine with, Seymour Reed. But Alonso Martinez and Maxi Morales are both on the bench at the start of this one. Alonso Martinez, well, we were curious as to how it was going for him coming off the international break with Costa Rica. But things are a lot better now, coming off a hat trick, his second career hat trick. And he also got that game winner, which you just saw, to help New York City defeat FC Dallas to close out the 4-game road trip 4-3. So here's Pascal talking about Alonso. It seems like he's got his comfort level back. Remember, there was a period of time there where there was at least a minor amount of concern.
Yeah, of course. But the concern was, I think, mainly the outside world. Alonso and myself, we had our chats and our moments on pitch and off pitch in order to discuss the things that needed to be discussed. And as I mentioned to you earlier, in one of our earlier conversations, it's about being on the right spot at the right time in order to give yourself the opportunity to score a goal. And if you look at the goals, how they were scored in this game, that is quite impressive, because the link up between him and Maxi going into the second goal of the game was pretty impressive in a tight area with a lot of defenders there. Good pass from Maxi with the right speed, the timing, the movement of Alonso and scoring the goal, as was his goal just after halftime, because that comes from a throw-in. It's a great play going forward, and he finishes with his left foot. So that shows he's all round. We're trying to get his heading game also to a high level, because
get him working with Johnny Shore after training. I
was about to say the same, exactly.
Yeah, well, Johnny Shore got the headed goal near post from Maxi Morales to open the scoring for New York City in that match. Anything from that from Pascal?
I like the first point. The noise is all external. The noise about right. Martinez, and probably a little bit coming from us as well, that's all external. In the dressing room, they've got full faith in him. Pascal's got full faith in him. Right. And Alonso Martinez, repaid that faith. So, yeah, for me, that was the one thing that jumped out of that interview straight away.
All right. And let's hear him talk about the first goal. We were just saying Maxi Morales to Johnny Shore. Over the first goal, 5'3" Maxi Morales to 5'7" Johnny Shore. I looked it up. There's no record of this, but combined, it might be the shortest duo to score on a corner kick in the history of the game. And there's still hope for me, Pascal, yeah?
There is. We were looking for you for the set piece training. So
that's right, man. Near post headers, that's my specialty. Maybe just analyze that a little bit, how he worked his way in to get that goal.
It was the perfect picture. Rob, one of my assistant coaches is in charge of the set pieces, and this is the one he foresaw getting us an opportunity to score a goal, and it was played perfectly because the delivery was spot on, the movement, the timing was spot on, and the first touch was quality. I'm very happy for Johnny, his first goal in MLS. But I was even happier to see that we scored from a set piece as a team, because that is something that the guys work on very hard in order to get this done.
Set pieces are a challenge, Matty. I'm sure you had coaches that did it in a variety of ways. And I think in your day it was less, and Pascal kind of said that a little bit there. Wasn't it a lot of the time on a corner just lump it in and go, but I might be mistaking that. But
we worked a lot on set pieces, probably 20 minutes a day, quite often.
Okay.
Just walking through them, I don't think we had as many routines as Rob Vertuggen has, but certainly it wasn't just lump it in the box. But sometimes when you've got 6'4" players, it is
no doubt
good delivery.
Yeah,
it looks like lumping it in the box, but 4 big guys attacking the ball. That was too easy, but it was great to see. Johnny Shaw made it look very, very easy for his first goal and a header. Certainly not his forte, but yeah.
Well, he said after the game he hasn't scored a headed goal before. Or he said, maybe I had one. I don't know how you forget when you're 5'7" that you had a headed goal. Max Morales has a headed goal. So you got both of them have scored with their head, which is always nice for me to see. I have to admit, Matty Lawrence. So that's going to about do it for us here. We've got, and I do want to review a little bit as we're at a Leagues Cup game. So we're going to be here for all of them. Sports Illustrated Stadium tonight, then again on Friday against Club Lyon, and then the following Tuesday at Yankee Stadium against Toluca, who are the defending champions. Away from home, but in the Bronx. And Toluca's going to play, LAFC? No, LA Galaxy. I'm sorry. They're playing LA Galaxy in Campeones Cup, something that New York City won in 2022. And that's going to be coming up, I think, in October. So, ironically, the Galaxy are having such an awful season, but they are the defending MLS Cup champions, and they're going to be playing the League MX champions, Toluca, further down the road. But New York City gets them. That's one to look forward to also. They're very good.
Toluca are a good team. They're not struggling how LA Galaxy are, that's for certain. Toluca are top of the table, I think, certainly the last time I looked. So, yeah, they're a very good side, and it will be a formidable opposition, certainly, for NYCFC in that third of the Leagues Cup games.
And we should say the deepest run, New York City, this is their third trip to Leagues Cup, and it's a new format this year, as we described earlier. But they made it to the quarterfinals last year, and that's the deepest they've ever gone. 0-0 draw with Querétaro, then a 4-2 away loss to Cincinnati. Just got hammered. But again, the way the groups are set up, top 2 teams go, and they ended up finishing second despite that shellacking. Then they face New England up at Gillette, 1-1, and at the end of 90 minutes, I don't know if we've said that, at the end of 90 minutes, goes straight to penalties, which might be why Matt Freese is starting a goal. I don't know. They could have, Pascal could have chosen Romero, but he's going with Freese. And New York City won that penalty shootout 7-6, made every one of their penalties. Can't beat that. And then the game of the year, really, for New York City, beating Tigres 2-1 because he got down. Remember, went down 1-0. And one of the goal scorers, Santi Rodriguez, he has 5 goals in Leagues Cup competition, which is near the top of all players.
That was a really good game. That was a proper game of football, blood and thunder, great rivalry, and a terrific performance as well.
And then Columbus Crew, they won in penalties at lower.com against New York City, who made it 1-1 during the course of the game, a game that Crew dominated, but got it to penalties. But I've never been one to say penalties are a crapshoot because you prepare for them.
Yes.
And the goalkeepers prepare and study, as Matt Freese described in that Costa Rica match at the Gold Cup, and players work on it as far as who's taking the kick. So it's not a crapshoot. It's an unfortunate way to decide the game, I suppose, but still.
Well, it is if you miss your penalty. That's for certain. It feels pretty harsh, but yes, it's not the crapshoot that maybe it used to be again. The amount of hours of prepping that Matt Freese and Rob Vertuggen will do, I'm sure we don't quite realise quite how much it is. So yes, it is. It's an interesting way to finish a game of football, that's for sure. But it's just an extra point, right? If you get the penalty win.
All right. Seymour Reed and Nico Fernandez-Murcal are making their debuts as starters for New York City FC. All competitions. The competition tonight is Leagues Cup. At 7:45, we start our pregame show presented by Ford. That's Eastern time. It's coming up in about 15 minutes, featuring Pascal Janssen, exclusive one-on-one we have before every game with Pascal. And then kickoff is at 8:10. And we will also welcome in Sirius XM-FC. So if you're driving around and you're a subscriber, you can go to channel 157. And interestingly enough, my show, The Coaching Academy, is being preempted for this. So you still get to hear me. That's crazy. So either way, you get some Crooks tonight.
Nice.
Yeah. So you tune in Thursday night to the Coaching Academy, okay? All right. For Matty Lawrence, I'm Glenn Crooks. Thanks for joining us here, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Take care, everybody.